we'd like to introduce you in the last minutes to Matchit, which is our tool in Magic to explore multiple comparisons and help decision makers move to recommendation or even decisions. I talked about ShareIt at Decision Aids pairwise. In pairwise comparisons, Matchit is the next generation of these work. And so if you go into Matchit tools, right now they are produced through us in given projects, but we hope to extend the service soon more broadly. You have a guidance on features of the tools, and I'm just going to briefly show them, a few of them to you. First, you can select your risk strata. So Matchit can be risk stratified very extensively, as I showed. And here you have, for example, 5 risk strata in the diabetic therapeutic guideline. And then you have a few that allows you to see all the outcomes and select the outcomes you want to use to build in your summary of finding and your visuals. Of course, when you do that, you can present all of them. So, and this is the breadth, the scope of this evidence synthesis, which is too big. And you see the challenge of multiple comparisons. So many interventions, many outcomes, many effect estimates, and all of them having certainty ratings pairwise according to each other. So this is not manageable, and we need features to browse that evidence in different contexts. Key features are the capacity to highlight, to color code, for example, elements here. And we've built in filters according to certainty, to magnitude of effect, or a combination of both. And it can be filtering or ranking your summary of finding as you select them. You can, of course, and this is even more useful, reduce the number of outcomes you're seeing or see them in a certain order, and reduce similarly the number of interventions you're seeing. And this is very useful features that allow you to work on processes, to lead a panel discussion, allow you to teach, so all the didactic purpose and dissemination strategies, and also allow anyone to browse the evidence the way they wish, the way they like, or according to a specific question. So for example, here, the big table you've seen has been reduced to a much smaller table with just 4 interventions here on the top and fewer outcomes. It's already big, but it's much more manageable. And you can, of course, then highlight, rank, or filter magnitudes of effects and certainty according to guidance, and be able to select or identify interventions and outcomes that are interesting to the discussion. And when you remove more of these interventions, they remain as part of your visual display, so you can bring them back and remove them at will. And this has been shown very helpful in user testing to browse the evidence, again, with color coding. Very interesting feature, you can change the comparators. So here, for example, one comparator was standard treatment, standard of care. Suppose I want to remove it because it's not part of the decision-making or the discussion at hand, then another intervention can be selected as the comparator, and you automatically can see the magnitudes of effect compared to that new comparator with the certainty attached to it. And again, all the filtering and ranking capacities. You can dive into one of the outcome data, and this is coming from ShareIt research, more extensive, in which you can see pictographs of the effects with standard treatment, for example, or here as SGLT2 inhibitors. You can picture the absolute difference. You can see the certainty. You have additional information on where the estimates come from a network estimate or direct evidence, for example. You can see continuous outcomes here, like the weight, and again, picture the magnitude of the difference, and compare those outcomes as shown here across different interventions. So browsing capacities in multiple comparisons. Another focus is the focus on certainty itself. So you have visuals that are very brief in showing the certainty that we used to see, but you can dive further with a link to reasons for rating down the uncertainty here. Practical issues, the framework that I mentioned before has also been embedded in Matchit, all those 15 categories. And when you click on them, you can have digital text attached to given interventions, and they can be displayed, for example, here on medication routine for a selection of interventions in your NMA. So we have great hopes for Match It. We see it's very appealing to different audiences, to clinicians, to our panel members. User testing studies are being done and now submitted, so we hope to be able to share results from our user testing quite soon and make it more accessible. Last word is on implementation. I'm just listing here on the screen large implementation projects that we are contributing to. Several are actually funded by the European Commission, so EU Horizon projects, such as OPERA on the colorectal cancer prevention. We had a rapid work on colorectal screening. This goes beyond into evidence produced through AI. You have BeSafe, for example, a large project with 6 countries and many partners across Europe on how to reduce benzodiazepines and sedative hypnotic use. So we try to enhance the ecosystem through synthesis, guidance, and accessible tools that are going to be tested in implementation trials, for example, in BeSafe. Or GELA, global evidence that is adapted, sorry for the typo, in sub-Saharan Africa, Malawi, Nigeria, South Africa, for example. All of them would deserve a presentation, but the purpose of showing you this is that we believe not just in showcases, tool and presentation formats, but actually embed them into implementation projects to show what is needed to implement change or de-implement interventions that are not working. So that were the things we wanted to share today. And a few words of conclusion is repeating what we've said. We believe we can enhance this ecosystem together, meaning that each of us in our field needs to understand how it fits the bigger picture, particularly around guidance and implementation. I didn't expand on AI, but briefly mentioned it. Of course, AI can bring additional help on processes, and this is very promising. On content too, but there we require the equal same rigor as the rest of the evidence, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of projects together on the future of AI. And we've highlighted key avenues. There are others, but that are particularly interesting in working together: living evidence and guidelines, multiple comparisons, personalized medicine, and implementation science.